had a secret public search. Now, how do you have a secret public search? For this kind of job, there should have been a national search. For this kind of job, Dr. Adelaide Sanford should have led the search, if not have been the chancellor. Dr. Donald Smith, Mr. G2 Wayusi, Assemblywoman Inez Barron. These are educators that have been in the system for 20 and 30 years. How do you have a private little search in your little office and that no one knows, and then you come out of nowhere and you say that you had a search and you came up with Smith Black? The problem with Bloomberg, he's a businessman. He sees education as a product, and he sees it as a business. And our parents are his customers. So he has this business mentality, so he went and got a businesswoman to partner with him so they can take that $23 billion budget and have continual, non-negotiated, non-vetted out contracts, no bidding contracts. And so this is not about business, Michael Bloomberg. This is about a human development and developing the potential of our children. Education is not your little playground for business, and we will not rest until the state agrees with us and denies Cathy Black a superintendent's waiver, a chancellor's waiver, because of her lack of credentials. And that's why we're here today. Mayor Bloomberg, we say no to Cathy Black.
No! Nay! It's systemic racism. Good morning, my name is Assemblymember Inez Barron, and I'm here today not only as a legislator in the State Assembly, but as a person who worked with the New York City Board of Education for 36 years in various positions ranging from classroom teacher, teacher trainer, math lab teacher, superintendent's assistant, on to a principal, which is a position from which I retired. Well qualified. Thank you. It is astounding that we're here again with a mayor who wants to have a person who has no idea of who Gardner, Frere, Gattegno, probably not even John Dewey is in terms of the pedagogy of instruction to lead a system of our children. The present Chancellor, Joel Klein, said that creative thinking can't happen if children can't read. What? Creative thinking can't happen if children can't read? That's from the mind of a person who doesn't understand that creative thinking precedes reading. Okay? Children who can't read are certainly functioning from a creative basis from the time that they're exploring the world. That's from a person who led a system talking about we're having creative chaos because he sat over the reorganization of 4 different systems of the Board of Education during his tenure. That's from a person who wasn't able to maintain superintendents of curriculum, deputy superintendents, because they saw that when they brought their background of education to him, he didn't understand that education is not a business related to dollar signs and moving people around, but it is a business of raising children's creative thinking and their ability to perform. We've already had a mess here, which we certainly are now just beginning to understand in terms of how things were fudged to make them look good. Children, they are saying, have increased graduation rates. As a council member said, yes, children can graduate when they're not required to sit in a classroom and to dialogue and to bring forth the results of a year's worth of work, but given a project to do over the weekend, so that then when they apply to the community colleges and graduate and four-year colleges, they are placed in remedial classes. What is the problem? There's something wrong with that. If you've increased the number of graduates, but these graduates are not able to perform on a basic level. We looked at a chancellor who did not realize, wait a minute, these test data scores are not paralleling the NAEP scores. There's a disconnect here. There's something wrong. Let's find out what the problem is. No, they were very happy to be able to say, oh, look at the scores going up, up, up. The scores were going up because you were lowering the bar so that anyone could pass. When you don't have a person who understands that education is a holistic process that looks at children in all of their capacities and takes their strengths and helps them to develop, then you get a system where scores are supposedly going up, but they're not in legitimate fashion going up, and you get children who are unable to perform, to function, to be able to come at a level of what's going on in the communities, and to be able to realize their own potential. So we're saying that we're no longer going to allow the state to run have a person run our system who is not qualified, who doesn't understand that when you don't look at getting the resources to those schools that you say are at risk, when you don't give them the smart boards, when you don't give them the computers and a functioning library to be able to meet the challenges of being able to be competent, you're going to get the same kind of results. When you get someone who wants to close schools based on criteria which you now present at the end of the year and say you did not meet them, rather than have them say, well, here is what we call the annual yearly progress, which the state has established, and this is what you need to conform to. It's totally at the Chancellor's discretion now as to which schools he wants to close. Thankfully, we had a group of people committed to fighting against it and preventing those schools from being closed. That same group of people continue to wage the fight. We're going to be in Albany. We're going to be sending this. We're going to be protesting. We can no longer have a person who does not have a clue about what they would see should they walk into a classroom to be able to evaluate that classroom, children's functioning, and the teacher. We're no longer going to allow that type of person to head the system that affects our children.
The system is leaderless at a crucial time of the year. And then the dictator,
Say it.
under the system of mayoral control,
Say it.
we have a dictator who is running a school system.
That's right.
Anybody with half of a thought of human relations would have called together a panel of people from across the city and said, I'm in a dilemma. Who should we appoint? Chancellor Klein is leaving. Who should we appoint? Nah, he decides in the privacy of his secret search that he should appoint Miss Black. Now, I don't know Miss Black. I have nothing against her. But I do know that when Bloomberg and Klein came in the early 2000s, when they were given control of the schools, people over 60 were being run out of the schools.
That's true.
People over 60 were being told to retire, that they were out of touch.
That's right.
The new chancellor to be is 66. What is it when Bloomberg decides somebody's in touch, they're okay, but everybody else is not okay? It's the same thing he did with the term limits, remember?
Right.
You need 3 terms, 4 terms, no term limit. Oh, 2 terms, term limit, you see? So we have got to take action to protect our interests at this stage. Our interest is the 1.1 million children attending the New York City public schools. And so we've got to take whatever action is necessary. As the late brother Malcolm X used to say, if we go to jail, so what? Living in New York City in the year 2010 is like being in jail.
That's right.
Thank you.
Now we're going to hear from 2 parents, Ms. Simmons and then Ms. Yola Fulani, and then we're going to hear from the Freedom Party, Bob Rowe.
Yes, my name is Joy Simmons, and I'm a parent of a New York City public school student. And I would like to say that this is an outrage.
That's right.
It is an outrage. It is insulting, and it is a slap in the face and disrespectful for Michael Bloomberg to attempt to put someone in a position who does not have the qualifications. Our children are not commodities.
That's right.
Our children are not products. The public school system is not a corporation that our students should be subjected to, and not get the quality of instruction, not to get the quality of leadership that they deserve. Our children deserve someone that is competent. Our children deserve someone that is bright. Our children deserve someone that has a commitment and a passion and a track record of these things. Because the track record helps determine what the future will look like. And we want a future for our children to have someone who understands that they are holistic beings that deserve a well-rounded education, and someone that understands education thoroughly, from the inside out, from the top to the bottom, and all the players. And understand about parents, understand about our children, understand about all of the players, teachers, unions, principals, that can see it as the organic entity that it is, not a corporation, and that this is what is going to produce the beautiful, young, bright leaders that our future deserves. So I'm going to fight and help organize with parents, and we are going to fight this tooth and nail, because it is outrageous, it is disgusting, and we will not tolerate this. These are our children, and we will not tolerate it. Thank you.
My name is Mubayara Fulani. I am a parent of children of the New York City Public School, and I'm also a member of the Coalition for Public Education. I am here today first to say, as one of the parents in New York City Public School, we are disgusted to the fact that 63,000 of our children failed an exam that was put there for them to fail. I am, as a parent, talking with another parents, we are dissatisfied that the law can be used only for people who want it to be on their side. When a child fails, they're supposed to attend summer school. We have 63,000 children promoted without summer school. And I wanted that to be said at first. And that alone is to show how business is not the same with education. Ms. Black, who I don't know, what we must understand, and they must understand, we have to be good role models. They who are leaders must be good role models. If we want our children to have regions in order to get into college, or in order to hold a job, or whatever profession that there is, that there are requirements needed to hold those positions, how on earth are you saying someone else is holding a position that does not have the requirements? How could that be fair to our children? What kind of a role model, what kind of a message are you sending to our young people who wants to do the right thing? Recently on a news article, I saw where Mayor Bloomberg's daughter was injured. I am sure they called the doctor to attend to her. There are crimes of people, there are crimes that Bloomberg committed and were charged for. I am sure when that courtroom opened, a lawyer is going in there. How on earth should our children be educated by a business person and not by an educator when he is using the role model of a doctor to treat his daughter and a lawyer to deal with his cases, his criminal charges? So what messages are being sent? As a parent, and I'm going to go out there and join with other parents, just as Ms. Simmons says, we are going to fight this till the very end, because under no circumstances should our children get the wrong message that it's okay to not meet the criteria to hold a job. Thank you.
I'll say this on behalf of the Freedom Party. It was in 1990 when I filed a lawsuit against the Board of Ed here in New York City, challenging on the level of curriculum and instruction. We have been struggling with public school education in this city for decades. There's no mystery as to how to educate children. People are educating children all over the world, and in many communities in this country effectively on a daily basis. We believe that the reason that this is happening is because the children who are being served are primarily Black and Latino.
That's right.
And this is the reason we formed the Freedom Party and will continue to build the Freedom Party, because a people that are perceived as not having any power or influence are always going to be the target and victim of this kind of racism and intolerant behavior. And so the Freedom Party is made very necessary as a political organization that struggles against this kind of initiative that comes from a mayor and a public school system that has consistently denied quality education to Blacks and Latinos. We are convinced that it is because the student body is primarily Black and Latino that these kinds of academies are being set up, experimental schools are being set up, as though we don't already know how to educate children. This woman, who has been appointed Chancellor, is not only an affront, it is a despicable show of contempt for the communities whose children are trapped in a public school system that is currently nothing more than a public school to prison pipeline.
Amen.
And to put someone in charge who is totally incompetent is being done simply because the community that these public schools serve is perceived as a community without power, without influence, without a party. And that is one of the reasons that we are going to continue to build the Freedom Party, and it's one of the reasons that the Freedom Party has taken the initiative in leading this struggle. Because it is a community that no longer can be seen, shall no longer be seen as a community without strident leadership. There are competent educators all over the country. There are competent educators all over the city. A failure to create a search committee that includes Dr. Donald Smith, Regent Adelaide Sanford, any number of competent, qualified educators, both Black and white, in this city, all of whom were ignored. That was deliberate, that was contemptuous, that was despicable, and it is done because this mayor, in the final analysis, holds the Black and Latino community in contempt. And so it is that community that now begins to mobilize. We're saying enough is enough. Let's draw the line here.
Draw the line. Draw the line.
What you are witnessing here today is the beginning of the pushback. We have tolerated entirely too much as a people and as a community over the last 2 years. This is the beginning of the pushback. This kind of arrogant, despicable behavior will no longer be tolerated. And so we are here today because those of us who love freedom cannot rest.
Amen.
We are still on the journey, and this is the beginning of the pushback.